in or finish a game because they know this 65-game rule is in the back of their head. Like if Luka misses one more, he's like, I got to get back out there. I got to get to that 20-minute mark. Do you think that 65-game rule could be detrimental to injuries like this where, hey, if he's like, you know what, I'm not feeling it, hamstring's a little tight, I'm going to sit out the second half, get back to it. I don't know. It was just something that popped in my head, but it's always something you think of.
Well, I mean, you certainly could argue that some of the stars that we saw facing unfortunate injuries this season maybe came back at a time because they knew that they were having to meet that mark. And I know that everybody here has their own thoughts about that 65-game rule, but when you are looking at the certain stars that are no longer going to be eligible for some of these things, for me, it's hard to imagine there is a world that it looks exactly like this next season.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know what changes.
Yeah.
They're going to have to.
I know what changes.
We know what
rule. That's what changes.
We don't know what it changes to.
Right.
But it has to be something. We all agree it has to be something. You got to draw the line in the sand somewhere. There's always going to be a conversation about who we can go back for because this guy deserves to be in. It's unfortunate about this. So wherever the line is drawn, they just got to stand on it.
Yeah, I saw the commissioner came out obviously saying that actually the 65-game rule is doing its job and is having these guys out there. But this was more for load management and not for actually real injuries. So if guys now need to rush back to come back and play and put themselves at risk, that's not what this rule was made. So
great point.
Definitely need to revisit this thing. And now some of our best players are not eligible for the top 3 NBA teams and awards. So this is obviously backfiring a bit.
Yeah, it's like the 65-game rule was put into place because of load management and maybe tanking, but probably more load management.
Yes.
And some of these stars, I mean, I look at Cade Cunningham and specifically like, what do we ask our superstars to do? We ask them to, besides their skill set, we ask them to play and we ask them to play hard. Cade Cunningham gets a collapsed lung from diving on the floor for a loose ball and misses out on the 65-game minimum. That, to me, is where the rule can't decipher between load management missing games or playing hard, having a real injury, a serious injury that affects everything. So,
or making you almost feel bad for being hurt. You don't want it to be that it is you're being reprimanded for the injury or being punished for an injury. And at some points, it certainly feels like that.
So I'm not quite sure. I saw Luka his team came out with a statement. They're going to file for this exemption. I don't know if you guys saw that. With the real injury exemption. I'm not quite sure how that works, but maybe there is a backdoor for some of these guys to get back in. I have no idea, but we definitely need to revisit this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, certainly want to see the stars out for the playoffs. You have 9 days or 9 games, 9 days of games left in the regular season. So I want to get you all's philosophy a little bit on matchup hunting. I want to know where you all stand with this because the Cleveland Cavaliers had a few quotes about this. So Kenny Atkinson said that they are thinking about what could be optimal for them when it comes to figuring out who they'd want to play. Donovan Mitchell said, you don't want to play that game. You want to go out there. You want to win. It's bad juju, and the basketball gods don't reward that. Which side are you all on? Kenny Atkinson's school of thought or Donovan Mitchell's?
I would say, especially now with the play-in game, you could have this team that you're like, oh, that's the matchup we want, and it might just not even happen, right? Like, and that's at the end of the regular season. So a lot of times, I think before the play-in existed, there were certain times where you could control your own destiny. But you can only control your own destiny if you are sort of locked into that spot, and usually that's if you're the lower seed. I would tend to agree, like, you don't want to be that team that's hoping for this matchup because then it sort of tells another team that you're running from this matchup. It makes you look, exactly. It makes you look weak. So I don't know. That's sort of how I feel.
Yeah, we've been in a playoff plenty of time. We'd never actually talked matchups. We always kind of played hard to the end. Maybe when you were up, you were resting a bit. Like, that's the only time maybe I can remember it backfired on us when we were the 1 seed in my MVP year. And, you know, we rested. Golden State needed to win 8 or 9 games straight. And we actually rested against Golden State just with a couple games left. They won against us, and then they won out. We faced them as a number 8 seed, and the rest is history. So we could have actually, if we played, maybe we would have won. I'm not sure if we would have won, but if we won, we would have eliminated them from the playoffs. And so actually that completely backfired on us, and we lost to the Golden State Warriors. So
basketball gods.
Yeah, we messed with them. We messed with them.
And Cleveland can't afford to not play their best basketball anyway right now. You need to be playing your best basketball right now down the stretch, finishing the season.
Yeah.
You don't have you don't have any lead room to be not playing your best basketball right now. You need to focus on that, and especially with these teams that are fighting to get in. You do not want to take your foot off the gas and run into one of these buzzsaws who've been fighting the last month and a half to get in the playoffs like you talked about. And now you're not in that mindset, and they've been in battle mode for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
You're in for a hell of a ride. So you don't want that. Finish the season strong, Cleveland. Don't play that game.
Yeah.
Don't play that game.
Yeah, no, I love it. And also just for some clarification on what you said about Luka appealing that rule, it is because he missed 2 games for the birth of his kids. So they're saying extraordinary circumstances.
Okay.
So we'll see how some of that pans out. But all right, we're going to take a break. But first...
one of them was. Both were.
I ain't giving him neither one. Should have boxed out. He got what he deserved.
We talked about that, UD.
Don't
where
box
are
out.
those in terms of just your favorites, your highlights?
I will put him top 8.
Oh,
Top 8.
You know, when the Rolodex is just so
Eight.
deep.
You got a lot of you got a lot.
The water cups won.
Blake can dig in the crate for a while. He can dig in the crate for days. You never know what's coming out of that crate.
Well, here is what Powell had to say about it. Let's take a listen.
Well, you don't really see it. You don't really see what happened. I mean, it happens quick. Yeah, it was a hit and run, right, kind of thing. I don't know. The ball went in. I was on my ass. My teammates told me that it was pretty. It was a pretty impressive play.
But this is how you know someone's a little in their feelings, all right? I take wins over highlights any day.
That's facts. Congrats, pal.
I mean,
congrats, pal. Congrats, dude.
in 2012, that hit hard. Right now, we taking the dunk on your head. It might have hit a little harder 14 years ago. Right now, your dunk hit harder. You got dunked on.
And if a player was going online after a moment like that tweet was a little different in that moment.
Yeah, we Twitter. That was like the social media back then. That's how you got everything off your chest.
There's no way I'm doing that interview after the game. By the way, next question. That's not what I'm answering. That's not what I'm answering. He was very nothing from me.
They did win the game, so you got to give him that.
I like
He
that.
said, I don't remember. What happened?
I said, get this guy out of here.
We'll be putting up.
I effing want to play. He went on to say he's available and questioned, quote, do I look like I'm not available? I don't know what the game is being played right here. I just don't want to be a part of it. Giannis said the Bucks should know that when he's healthy, he wants to play, considering he spent his entire career in Milwaukee. He said, quote, you know who you're dealing with. For somebody to come and tell me not to play or compete, it's like a slap in my face, end quote. I don't know where the relationship goes from there. We've got to go to couples therapy. Giannis also talked about his desire to play with Alex, his younger brother, making his NBA debut on Sunday, saying, quote, you really think I don't want to suit up and play with my brother? Anybody who thinks that is an idiot, end quote. After last night's 32-point loss to the Celtics, Doc Rivers responded.
The tough part about all this is I'm in the middle and I have nothing to do with it. Coaches don't decide any of this. But the problem with our league is the coaches are the ones sitting out front, and we have to sit here and answer this stuff. And I think there are 2 sides to this. I will tell you that. But I don't want to get too involved in it. I decided long ago that's not for me to get involved in the rest of this stuff. I don't like it, though. I don't. I just don't like that this is so public, and it shouldn't be. This is a grown man's game, and it should be handled that way by everybody. And so I don't like when it's he said, she said stuff. It's not good. And so just from that seat, the fact that I have to sit up here and keep addressing it, it bothers me. And we need to do something about it.
Okay, let's bring in our NBA reporter, Tim McMahon. He joins us now. Let's start here with the Bucks. I mean, obviously, this is an ugly standoff with Milwaukee and Giannis. Where do we go from here, Tim?
I mean, couples therapy, and what's after that? Probably divorce court. And this has been a long, drawn-out saga, frankly, for years, but especially over the last year. They had the trade talks with the Knicks that didn't lead to anything in the summer. They had trade talks with several teams leading up to this deadline. Really the first time that they opened it up and were seriously discussing and considering offers. And I think that lays the groundwork for the breakup this summer. And Giannis, he hasn't come out and publicly said, I want out of Milwaukee, but he's dancing around it. He's beating around the bush. And at this point, what's in the Bucks' best interest? The idea that you're going to be able to construct a contender around Giannis, look at the standings. Look how far away they are. And it's not his health. Like, this is not a good roster. It's not a good team. It's been a great era. They hung a banner, but it is probably time for the parties to go their separate ways this summer.
Yeah, you're right about that. Last time I saw the Bucks like 11th in the East. Giannis, by the way, has missed 10 straight games now because of that hyperextended knee and bone bruise. Let's move over to the West. The Lakers and Luka, we know that he's out for the regular season. He's got that grade 2 left hamstring strain. What can you tell us about how the Lakers are now preparing without Luka?
Well, and they have to be prepared to play playoff games, maybe even a full playoff series without Luka. Grade 2 hamstring strain, the typical timeline to recover from that is 4 to 6 weeks. Remember, this is the second time that he's strained that hamstring this season. So, obviously there's real concern around that. Now, they are 7-6 without Luka this season. Austin Reeves, early this season when Luka was out, really showed that he can be a star as the primary option, at least in short bursts. And, the time for LeBron to be that less is more third option, well, that's not a luxury that they have. They need 41-year-old LeBron James to be a co-star alongside Austin Reeves to buy them time for Luka to recover and hopefully get back during the playoffs.
Well, look, the Lakers 7-6 without Luka this season. You said 4 to 6 weeks recovery. Hey, look, first round of the playoffs, April 18th, couple of weeks away. Tim McMahon, thank you.